Have you ever felt that there is an invisible wall between you and the wealth you so deeply desire, a transparent yet unbreakable barrier that stands between your relentless effort and the financial freedom you see others achieve? You can sense the abundance on the other side, you work towards it, you follow the rules of the game, and yet you remain separated, pressing against a force you cannot see or name. This is not a failure of your work ethic, nor a lack of intelligence. It is the result of a fundamental error in your internal world, a subtle misalignment in the very architecture of your mind that keeps prosperity perpetually at arm's length. This invisible wall is real, and it has a name, a cause, and a solution. When Napoleon Hill dedicated over 2 decades of his life to studying 500 of the world's most powerful and wealthy individuals, he was not looking for a checklist of success habits. He was searching for the universal laws that govern achievement. In his exhaustive research, he did not find hundreds of reasons for failure. He found one, a single fatal flaw, a mental error so pervasive and so catastrophic that it acts as the primary cause of all financial stagnation. This is the unseen anchor that keeps good, hard-working people tethered to a life of mediocrity, especially during the most productive and potent years of their lives. This single error explains the exhaustion, the frustration, and the heartbreaking gap between the effort you invest and the results you see in your bank account. Stay with me, because during our time together today, that invisible wall will not just be identified, it will be utterly demolished. The fatal flaw that has silently sabotaged your progress will be dragged from the shadows of the subconscious into the full light of your awareness. And once a shadow is exposed to light, it ceases to exist. I will not give you a list of things to do. I will give you the key to a door you never knew was locked. By the end of this revelation, the error will be exposed, and the correction will be yours to implement. The very foundation of your financial reality is about to be rebuilt upon a principle of power that has been hidden in plain sight for centuries. You know the feeling, don't you? The profound silence of the house at 3 in the morning when the rest of the world is asleep, but your mind is a storm of calculations. It is the cold glow of your phone in the dark as you review the numbers again, hoping you missed something, hoping a miracle has occurred since you last looked. It is the familiar knot that tightens in your stomach when you realize the math remains the same. Income in, expenses out, and the small remainder feels less like progress and more like a cruel joke. This quiet, lonely ritual is the burden of the responsible, the hard-working, the one who does everything right, yet feels like they are constantly on the verge of falling behind. It is a weight that sleep cannot lighten. Then comes the dawn, and you must wear the mask of competence. At work, you are the reliable one, the problem solver, the expert in your field. You offer solutions and project confidence, while a silent part of your mind is screaming in protest. You know the crushing duality of being praised for your professional value, while feeling a deep, personal sense of financial inadequacy. It's a tension you carry in your shoulders, a forced smile that hides the constant low-grade anxiety humming just beneath the surface. This is the exhausting performance demanded by a world that equates professional skill with personal wealth, leaving you to feel like an imposter in your own life, perpetually one unexpected bill away from disaster. Imagine the sensation of opening your bank statement. It is not an act of excitement, but one of bracing for impact. There is that familiar drop in your chest as you see a month of dedication, of long hours and sacrificed family time, reduced to a number that does not reflect the effort. It is the perfect metaphor for your journey, running tirelessly on a treadmill, sweating, pushing, giving it your all, only to look around and find yourself in the exact same spot you were in last month, last year. The scenery never changes. This feeling of stagnation is not just frustrating, it is soul-crushing, for it whispers that your greatest efforts are ultimately meaningless, and you see it happening for others. Colleagues, friends, perhaps even family members who seem to be on the same path suddenly leap forward. You see the new house, the vacation photos from a place you can only dream of, the casual way they speak about investments and future plans. It is not envy that you feel, but a profound and painful bewilderment. You are not one to begrudge another's success, but you cannot escape the question that echoes in your heart. What do they know that I don't? They do not work harder than me. They are not smarter than me. Why does the formula work for them but not for me? This comparison amplifies the feeling of being left behind in a race you didn't even know you were losing. You have followed the script to the letter. You pursued the education they said was essential. You secured the respectable job. You have been a loyal employee, a responsible parent, a prudent saver. You avoided lavish expenses and foolish risks. You did everything the world told you was necessary for a life of security and prosperity. You played the game with integrity and dedication, believing that your commitment would be rewarded in due course. Yet, the reward never fully materialized. The blueprint you were given, the one followed by generations, seems to have a fatal flaw in its design because the foundation you have painstakingly built feels like it is resting on quicksand. There is a deeper fear now, isn't there? It is the chilling awareness of the calendar. The line of 40 is either approaching like a freight train or is already a memory in your rearview mirror. The prime years for wealth creation, the years of maximum energy and opportunity, feel like they are slipping through your fingers like fine sand. You can feel the silent panic that the window for building a life of true abundance, of freedom from financial worry, is closing. This is not just anxiety about money, it is a fear of regret, the terrifying possibility that you will reach your later years and realize that your one life was spent in a state of constant, grinding struggle for survival, not in a state of thriving. It is that silent thought, the one you barely allow yourself to acknowledge, that says, I have given so much, I have sacrificed, I have worked with all my heart. Is this all there is to show for it? It is the quiet whisper that asks the most dangerous question of all. What if I am doing something fundamentally wrong? Or even worse, what if wealth, what if true freedom and abundance are simply not meant for people like me? This doubt is a poison to the soul, because it suggests that your current circumstances are not a temporary state, but a final destination. It is the feeling of a potential unfulfilled, a destiny unreached. And so you find yourself trapped. You are caught in the chasm between the life of security you worked so hard to build and the life of abundance you deeply desire. You feel the immense frustration of someone who has climbed a ladder with all their might, only to discover it was leaning against the wrong wall. Your pain is real, your frustration is justified, and your feeling of being stuck is completely understandable. But what you are about to learn is that it is not your fault. You were not given the wrong information. You were simply given an incomplete map. The most important piece was intentionally left out. So, if your effort is not the problem, then what is? We have been conditioned to search for the source of our struggles in the external world. We blame the economy, the shifting job market, a lack of formal education, or the decisions of those in power. We believe the enemy is a force outside of our control, a hostile environment that we must battle against every single day. But this is the great deception. The true enemy, the saboteur of your prosperity, is not an external circumstance. It is an internal program, a piece of advice given to you with the best of intentions that has become the very architect of your financial prison. It is the counsel you received from those you trust, a philosophy that you adopted as wisdom, but which has acted as a silent poison to your power. The advice sounded so reasonable, so prudent. You were told, don't put all your eggs in one basket. Always have a plan B, a plan C, and a plan D just in case. Be realistic. Keep your options open. This philosophy of scattered focus was presented as a shield, a form of security in an uncertain world. But it is not a shield. It is a cage. This is not a strategy for success. It is a recipe for mediocrity. This counsel, which encourages the division of your energy and the diversification of your focus, is the most destructive force in the life of anyone who seeks to create wealth. It is an instruction to dilute your power, to spread your immense mental and spiritual resources so thinly that they have no real impact on anything. This is the critical distinction between the path of mere effort and the path of divine alignment. A mind that is trying to serve multiple masters, the desire for wealth, the fear of scarcity, the demands of Plan A, the safety net of Plan B, becomes weak, scattered, and ineffectual. It is like the light from a dim bulb, spreading in all directions, but illuminating nothing with clarity. A unified mind, however, a mind consecrated to a single definite purpose, becomes a laser. It is a concentrated beam of power with the capacity to cut through any obstacle, to burn through any limitation, and to manifest its objective with breathtaking speed and precision. The enemy, therefore, is the belief that safety lies in division. The truth is that all creative power lies in absolute, unwavering focus. So now we arrive at the turning point. The correction for this fatal flaw is not a new strategy or a complicated business tactic. It is a return to a fundamental law of the universe, a principle so powerful that it serves as the bedrock for all significant achievement. Napoleon Hill, in his legendary work, presented it as the very first step, the non-negotiable starting point for anyone who wishes to transmute desire into its financial equivalent. He called it with profound simplicity a definiteness of purpose. Understand that Hill was not merely an author, he was a decoder of universal laws, a man who dedicated his life to translating the esoteric language of power into a practical science. This principle is the master key that unlocks the door to the vault of riches, the primary cause that must be set in motion before any great effect can ever be realized. But do not mistake this for a modern invention. Hill did not create this law. He simply rediscovered it and articulated it for the industrial age. This golden thread of truth is woven throughout the most sacred wisdom of humanity. It is the same immutable law recorded thousands of years ago in ancient texts, which states with perfect clarity in the book of James, "For the one who doubts is like a wave of the sea, blown and tossed by the wind. A double-minded man is unstable in all his ways." This is not a mere poetic metaphor. It is a precise diagnosis of the human condition that leads to failure. The double-minded man is the one with a divided focus, a scattered will, and a mind at war with itself. And such a mind, the ancients knew, is powerless to create anything of lasting value. Here then is the fatal error laid bare. It is the attempt to live life from a place of a divided mind. It is the futile effort to serve two opposing masters. The first master is your conscious, noble desire for more life, for abundance, for freedom, and for the capacity to make a meaningful impact. The second master is your subconscious, pervasive fear of lack, of loss, of failure, and of scarcity. You cannot face north and south at the same time. You cannot attune your vibrational frequency to the reality of abundance while your dominant thoughts are rooted in the fear of poverty. The great work, the point of transformation, is to unify the mind. It is the conscious, deliberate decision to serve only one master, a single, clear, magnificent, and definite purpose. We begin by dismantling the first and perhaps most common aspect of the fatal error, the crime of the vague desire. Listen to the language of the masses, and you will hear the faint prayer of "I want to be rich" or "I wish I had more money." These are not statements of power. They are weightless wishes sent into the cosmos with no address and no instructions. They are the equivalent of a child looking at the sky and wishing for a star. It is a passive, formless longing that carries no creative energy. Your subconscious mind, the faithful servant that works to manifest your deepest commands, cannot act on such a fuzzy and ill-defined request. It requires precision. A vague desire is a seed thrown onto barren rock. It has no soil in which to germinate, no substance to take hold of. When you say, "I want to be rich," you are not giving your mind a command. You are merely describing a state of lack. You are affirming that you are currently in a position of not having, and so your subconscious mind works tirelessly to maintain that reality for you. The universe is a mirror that reflects the clarity of your intention. If you present it with a blurry image of what you want, it can only reflect back a blurry and unsatisfying reality. True creation does not begin with wanting. It begins with deciding. It begins with a decree. Let us now decode the immense power of a purpose that is not merely wished for, but decreed. The correction to a vague desire is a statement of absolute definition. This decree has three essential components: a precise monetary amount, a final date for its acquisition, and a clear and definite plan for what service or value you intend to give in return for this money. For example, you move from "I want to be rich" to "I will have in my possession $1 million by the first day of January 2027. I will provide this sum in return for delivering the most effective personal coaching service in my industry." Do you feel the shift? The energy changes from a plea to a command. This act of definition transforms you from a dreamer into a creator. You are providing your subconscious mind with a set of blueprints, a clear and unambiguous target to which it must align all its resources. This is not a goal that you hope to achieve. It is a reality that you are commanding into existence through the power of your focused will. You are no longer asking for permission from the universe. You are stating with calm and quiet conviction the terms of your reality. You are creating a vacuum, a specific energetic space that the universe must now rush to fill according to the specifications you have provided. This clarity is the genesis of all fortune. Consider the metaphor of a great ship upon the ocean. A mind with a vague desire is a ship without a rudder, and without a single coordinate entered into its navigation system. It is left to the mercy of every current, every wind, every passing storm. It may drift for a lifetime, busy with the activity of sailing, yet never arriving at any meaningful port, ultimately rusting away in the vast sea of unfulfilled potential. It is a vessel of immense capacity going absolutely nowhere. This is the tragic state of the majority of humanity, possessing a mind capable of anything, yet giving it no specific destination to pursue. Now imagine a different ship. On this vessel, the captain has decreed a precise destination, a specific port with exact coordinates. That destination is locked into the navigation system. Every crew member, every sail, and every degree of the rudder is adjusted and aligned with the sole purpose of reaching that single point on the map. When storms come, the ship does not abandon its course. It corrects for the deviation and continues onward. Its journey is not defined by the weather, but by its destination. This is your mind when it is given a definite major purpose. It becomes a force of nature, moving with unshakable intention toward a predetermined end. Your mental action, starting today, is to commit this act of supreme authority. You must move from the ethereal realm of wishing into the concrete realm of decision. Take out a piece of paper and write your decree. Do not be timid. Do not be realistic in the conventional sense. Be precise. What is the exact amount of money you intend to accumulate? What is the final date on that timeline? What specifically will you give in return? This last part is crucial. It is the law of exchange. You are not asking for a handout. You are declaring the value you will bring to the world. This written statement is not a simple to-do list. It is a sacred contract between your conscious mind and the infinite power of your subconscious. Read it, memorize it, own it. This decree becomes the constitution of your new reality, the governing document of your thoughts and actions. It must be so deeply ingrained in your being that it becomes the automatic filter through which you perceive the world. This is the first and most powerful step in demolishing the invisible wall. You must give the architect, your mind, a clear and unambiguous blueprint to build from. Why is this so powerful? Because this act of definition engages a part of your brain known as the reticular activating system. This is the network that filters the billions of bits of information your senses receive every second and only allows what is important to come to your conscious attention. When you define a purpose with such crystalline clarity, you program this system to actively hunt for people, resources, ideas, and opportunities that are relevant to your mission. You literally begin to see a different world, one filled with pathways to your goal that were previously invisible to you. Furthermore, this decree aligns the immense forces of your conscious and subconscious mind, eliminating the inner conflict that sabotages most people. When your conscious mind has a clear objective and your subconscious mind has been given a direct order, they cease to work against each other. Your entire being becomes a unified force moving in a single direction. You shift your vibrational frequency from the energy of wanting and not having to the powerful magnetic frequency of commanding and receiving. You are no longer a victim of circumstance. You are the deliberate creator of your circumstances. Now we must address the second facet of the fatal error, the weakness of passive hope. This is the state of mind where one hopes things will get better, hopes for a breakthrough, or hopes the economy improves. Hope in this context is a beggar's plea. It is an admission of powerlessness. It is the surrendering of your creative authority to external forces, waiting for a savior outside of yourself to rescue you from your situation. Hope is a beautiful sentiment, but on its own it has no creative power. It is a ship waiting for a favorable wind, rather than starting its own engine. It is the enemy of decision. The correction to passive hope is not optimism. It is a force far more potent. Napoleon Hill called it a burning faith. It is critical to understand that this is not necessarily a religious concept. It is a state of mind, a deep and unshakable conviction in the attainment of your purpose, so absolute that it becomes a form of serene knowing. It is not, I believe I can, but I know it is done. This burning faith is the emotional fuel that powers your decree. It is a conviction that is cultivated deliberately, systematically, until it becomes the dominant emotional state of your being. It is the absolute certainty of success, held in the mind long before it manifests in reality. This state of burning faith is achieved through what Hill termed autosuggestion. This is the principle of consciously feeding your own mind. It is the act of communicating your decreed purpose directly to your subconscious mind over and over with intense emotion until your subconscious accepts it as fact. Your subconscious mind does not reason. It only accepts and acts upon the premises you give it, especially those charged with strong feeling. By repeatedly flooding your mind with the reality of your success, you are rewriting the limiting beliefs and doubts that have held you captive. You are systematically replacing the programming of fear with the programming of faith. Consider the metaphor of a master sculptor. Passive hope is like looking at a rough block of marble and wishing it would become a beautiful statue. A burning faith is the sculptor picking up the chisel and hammer. He does not hope the statue is within the stone. He knows it is. With every strike of the hammer, he is not creating the statue, but rather He is chipping away everything that is not the statue. He holds the finished image perfectly in his mind and works with unwavering conviction until the form he sees internally matches the form that stands before him externally. Your faith is the hammer, and your doubts are the excess stone. Here is your mental action to build this burning faith. Twice a day, upon waking and before sleeping, go to a quiet place where you will not be disturbed. Close your eyes and repeat your written decree aloud. But this is the critical part. Do not merely recite the words. You must generate the emotion. You must feel what it will feel like to have already achieved your purpose. Feel the gratitude flooding your body. Feel the relief washing over you. See in your mind's eye the bank statement with the exact amount. Feel the pride of the service you have rendered. This daily ritual is non-negotiable. It is the emotional and spiritual work that makes manifestation possible. This practice systematically closes the door to doubt. The subconscious mind cannot hold two contradictory ideas at once. It cannot fully accept the reality of your success, while also entertaining the possibility of failure. By deliberately and consistently impressing upon it the feeling of achievement, you starve the roots of fear and anxiety. You are conditioning your mind and body to live from the reality of your fulfilled desire. This is not faking it till you make it. It is living from a deeper truth, understanding that what is created in the imagination with faith must by law manifest in the physical world. You are changing your emotional set point, your default vibrational frequency. The universe is not a thinking entity, it is a responding entity. It responds to the vibration you emit. A person living in hope and fear emits a frequency of lack and uncertainty. A person living in a state of burning faith, of gratitude for success already achieved in spirit, emits a powerful, coherent frequency of abundance and certainty. This makes you a living magnet for the people, ideas, and circumstances that are in harmonic resonance with your purpose. Faith is not blind belief. It is the focused application of thought and emotion to create a desired reality. This brings us to the third and final aspect of the fatal error, the trap of unfocused occupation. Most people are busy. Their days are filled with tasks, meetings, emails, and obligations. They confuse this activity with achievement, but being busy and being effective are two entirely different things. An unfocused person is busy putting out fires, responding to the urgent demands of others, and engaging in dozens of trivial tasks that create the illusion of progress but do not move them 1 inch closer to their own defined purpose. This is the most deceptive form of stagnation because it feels productive. The antidote to this trap is the cultivation of what may be called a productive obsession. This is not an unhealthy fixation, but rather a magnificent and total commitment to your definite major purpose. It is the conscious decision to make your purpose the central organizing principle of your entire life. It is the sun around which all the planets of your daily activities must orbit. With this productive obsession, decision-making becomes radically simplified. You are no longer pulled in 1,000 different directions by competing priorities because you now have a single, ultimate priority against which all others are measured. This obsession provides you with a simple yet profoundly powerful tool for managing your time, energy, and resources. It is a single question that you must use as a filter for every choice you make throughout your day. Before you commit to a meeting, before you spend an hour on a task, before you make a significant purchase, you must pause and ask yourself this question: does this action directly contribute to the fulfillment of my definite major purpose? Be ruthless in your honesty. If the answer is no, you must have the discipline to discard that activity or delegate it. This question is your compass, constantly pointing you toward your true north. This single question is what separates the master from the dabbler. The dabbler says yes to almost everything, fearing they might miss out. The master says no to almost everything, because they understand that every ounce of energy spent on a non-essential task is energy stolen from their great work. This discipline is not about restriction, it is about liberation. It frees you from the tyranny of the trivial and allows you to channel your full power toward the one thing that truly matters. It is the art of applying maximum leverage to the most critical point. Imagine your life force, your creative energy, as a finite amount of water in a reservoir. The unfocused person opens hundreds of small channels from this reservoir. A little water flows here to a minor project, a little there to a social obligation, a little more to a distraction. The result is 100 shallow, muddy trickles, none of which have the force to carve a new path or turn a water wheel. There is much activity but no power. The ground is damp everywhere but nothing is truly irrigated. This is the life of quiet desperation created by unfocused busyness. The person with a productive obsession, however, builds a single massive aqueduct from their reservoir. They channel all of their water, all of their life force, into this one channel. The result is not a trickle, but a powerful, roaring river of energy. This is a force that can carve canyons through mountains of obstacles, a force that can power the turbines of massive achievement, a force that can irrigate a vast desert and turn it into a fertile paradise. Their power is not greater in quantity. It is simply unified, concentrated, and intelligently directed toward a single worthy end. Your mental action is to become the master of your focus. For the next 7 days, conduct a purpose audit of your life. At the end of each day, review how you spent your time and energy. Against each major activity, write a simple yes or no in response to the great question, did this move me closer to my definite purpose? This is not an exercise in self-judgment, but in pure awareness. The goal is to see with shocking clarity how much of your precious life force is currently being leaked into activities that do not serve your ultimate vision. This awareness is the first step toward reclaiming your power. You begin to consciously choose alignment. You start to see that an hour spent scrolling on social media is an hour you did not spend refining the plan for your service. You see that a conversation centered on gossip is energy. You did not invest in a conversation that could lead to a powerful partnership. This productive obsession is not about working 24 hours a day. It is about ensuring that the hours you do work are hours of pure, unadulterated, focused power, directed like a laser beam at the heart of your target. This is the holy trinity of wealth creation. First, you replace a vague desire with a decreed and definite purpose, giving your power a target. Second, you replace passive hope with a burning faith, giving your purpose the emotional fuel it needs to grow. And third, you replace unfocused occupation with a productive obsession, ensuring that your daily actions are in perfect, unwavering alignment with your purpose and your faith. These 3 shifts are the internal work that must precede all external success. They are the cause. The fortune is merely the effect. When these 3 principles are combined, something miraculous happens. A synergy is created. Your decree gives your faith a direction. Your faith animates your decree with power. And your productive obsession provides the physical world channel through which the power of your faith-fueled decree can flow and take form. You cease to be a person who is trying to get rich. You become a person who is a vibrational match to wealth. You are no longer chasing it. You are attracting it by virtue of who you have become. This is the essence of the great work. Therefore, understand this deeply. The single fatal flaw of a divided mind is not corrected by a single action, but by a new way of being. It is the commitment to live as a person of one mind, one purpose, and one fortune. It is the decision to no longer tolerate internal division. You must choose this day which master you will serve, the clear vision of your highest potential or the nebulous and chaotic fears of your past programming. The choice is yours, and it is the only choice that has ever truly mattered. And so the invisible wall has been revealed for what it is, the internal friction of a mind at war with itself. The great work, then, is not to struggle harder against the outside world, but to bring peace and unity to your inner world. Imagine the profound release of laying down the burden of a divided mind. The constant, nagging anxiety that hums just beneath the surface of your day begins to fade, replaced not by a frantic excitement, but by a deep, resonant calm. The mental energy that was once consumed by worry, doubt, and indecision is now liberated, available to you as a powerful, creative force. This is the feeling of alignment, the inner state of peace from which all great fortunes are born. Picture yourself waking up tomorrow, but instead of that familiar knot of pressure in your chest, that immediate mental rush to the day's problems and obligations, you experience something entirely new. You feel a quiet, steady current of power within you. Before your feet even touch the floor, you know your mission, you know your destination. The day ahead is not a gauntlet to be survived, but a field of opportunity to be cultivated for the advancement of your great purpose. The world has not changed, but you have, and in doing so, your entire perception of the world is transformed. This is the difference between living by chance and living by divine design. This newfound clarity will become your greatest asset. The hundreds of small, energy-draining decisions you once agonized over will become effortless. Opportunities that are in harmony with your purpose will suddenly appear brilliantly illuminated, as if the universe is shining a spotlight on them just for you. Distractions, commitments, and requests that would once have pulled you off course will become transparently obvious for what they are. Detours from your destiny. Your unified mind becomes the most powerful filter, effortlessly sorting the signal from the noise and allowing you to navigate your life with a grace and efficiency you have never before experienced. Life ceases to be a struggle and becomes a flow. This transformation does not require you to add more to your already overflowing plate. It is not about a new productivity hack or a more demanding schedule. It is, in fact, the opposite. It is an act of profound simplification. It is about the sacred art of subtraction, of eliminating that which does not serve your purpose. You are not building a new, more complicated machine. You are clearing the debris from the powerful engine that has been within you all along, allowing it to finally run at its full capacity. The path to abundance is not through more complexity, but through more clarity. It is about doing less, but with a more focused and potent power. Therefore, the call today is not to go out into the world and work harder. The call is to go inward and work deeper. I invite you, with the utmost seriousness, to give yourself a gift of incalculable value. Sometime today, carve out 30 minutes of absolute, uninterrupted silence. Turn off your phone. Close the door. Disconnect from the endless noise of the world, from the opinions of others, from the demands on your time. Create a sacred space, a vacuum in time, where the only voice you can hear is the voice of your own soul, your higher self. In that sacred silence, take a single sheet of paper and a pen. This will be the most important appointment you have ever kept. And on that paper, you are to perform the single most powerful creative act of your entire life. You are to define in clear, precise, and unapologetic terms your definite major purpose. Write down the amount, write down the date, write down the service you will render. Do not edit yourself, do not judge yourself, do not let the small voice of realism interfere. Write the decree that will become the constitution for the rest of your life. The moment that ink touches the paper, you are performing an act of magic. You are drawing a definitive line in the sands of time. On one side lies the past, the confusion, the frustration, the struggle of the divided mind. On the other side lies the future, the clarity, the power, and the certainty of the unified will. This is the first day of your new financial reality, because it is the first day you have decided, with all your being, what that reality will be. You cease to be a passive passenger in your life, and you take your rightful place in the captain's chair, with your hand firmly on the helm. From this moment forward, everything begins to conspire in your favor. A mind that is clear about its destination becomes a magnet, attracting everything it needs for the fulfillment of its journey. The path may not always be easy, but it will always be clear. You have given the universe its marching orders. Now all that is required is that you hold this vision in your mind, fuel it with your faith, and act with obsession in its direction. This is the law. This is the promise. This is the beginning of your true prosperity. One mind, one purpose, one fortune.